Domestic workers in Hong Kong are the ones who work in households and take care of the families. The reason they come to Hong Kong is simple. They want to earn more money and have better life. Some of the employers are nice to the workers. Therefore, they live happily in Hong Kong.
And then maybe because my employer are so good to me, they're all Chinese, but then so that's why maybe that's the thing that, and also they helped me at that time when I need to buy a house.
However, not everyone are as lucky as her. In fact, many domestic helpers are facing poverty and inequalities in Hong Kong.
Have it raised yet? I've heard of your the salary will be raised. No, only that. Only for 6 days.
Okay. What are the main problems they face? What can be done to help them? And what are the obstacles? We are going to discuss them further.
Firstly, we will explain the dimensions of poverty of this issue. Poverty is an inability to afford one's needs. So looking at Maslow's hierarchy of 5 needs, we can see the levels of poverty these workers face. For the bottom 2 needs, physiological and safety needs, domestic help workers are provided this by their contract and employers. Above that is love and belonging, which domestic help workers have expressed as their biggest struggle with working abroad. They try to cope by gathering regularly with others from their country, but many have not gone home in several years, and their inability to afford flights translates into an inability to afford proximity to loved ones. Next is esteem. Because of strict contracts, working conditions, and abuse, high self-respect or freedom is uncommon for domestic help workers, especially since many do not retaliate for fear of breaking their contract. And finally is self-actualization. While most look down on these low-class jobs, they are very proud of working in Hong Kong, a high-class society with high salaries relative to their home countries. Hence, by sending money home, they support their family, the highest measure of success in the opinion of most of these workers, which they consider more than worth the struggles they put up with. Next, domestic help workers also face many dimensions of inequality. Taking a look at the laws, foreigners are allowed to apply for permanent residency after 7 years of living in Hong Kong. However, under immigration laws, domestic help workers are not eligible for this and must always have a contract to stay in Hong Kong. This shows how they will never be seen as equal to other working classes or the citizens of Hong Kong. Next, the many cases of abuse and inhumane treatment of domestic help workers going unreported or unpunished are indicative of the inequality in treatment towards these workers. And finally, there's socioeconomic inequality. Considering their work hours, domestic help workers' minimum monthly salaries are only about 1/3 of that of locals. However, this is still more than most jobs in their home countries, depicting a two-faced inequality where they are considered poorer in Hong Kong but richer in their home countries. Ultimately, the country and socio-economic background of these workers somewhat forces them to put up with these inequalities just to make a living.
It's more than minimum.
More than
Yes, it's 5,000 lifetime benefits, just for hospitalization, just only the insurance, food allowance, just like that.
Of course, most of the domestic helpers want to change the inequality situations since they want to improve their quality of life. However, some of the stakeholders may want to keep in the situation. Some of the employers may want to minimize their expenditure, and therefore they may ignore the rights of the domestic helpers. For example, in our interview, a domestic helper said that her employers even didn't provide a room for her.
Before in my first employer, because in my first employer it's difficult because I don't have room in the house.
Oh,
Yeah.
so where did
I
you stay?
at the living room.
Oh my god.
Sleep. And then that's why it took. Before I thought I cannot finish because you don't have
Your own
storage.
space.
Yeah. And then I just stay at the kitchen, like the small stool to sit.
Oh wow. So did you know before you started the employment, did you know that you will stay in the living room, or did you know that there won't be any place for you to?
Because I'm just a first timer to apply. I'm in Philippines. That's why for me, I just how to say that. I said it's okay because I will try.
You really
to work.
needed a job.
Yeah. But, when I came here and then I feel.
Yeah. Then you learn how it's supposed to be, and then
difficult.
yeah.
But when I'm going to stay too long, and then I just try to adjust. I just accept how to
Yeah, how things work here, and then that's yeah. Okay. Okay.
but I'm thankful also that I finished that 2 years for the health working there.
Yeah.
A more sad fact is, some of the domestic helpers may even want to keep in the situations too. In the case I just mentioned, the worker already know that before she signed up for the contract, but she still accept it, since she need the job. She need the money. Most of the domestic helpers even don't have a choice. They may worry that if something changed, the situation may come even worse. For example, if the minimum wage of them are increased, they may worry that less employers are willing to hire them. They are forced to accept it.
Protocol or legislation needs to be established on the issue of domestic helpers facing physical abuse from their employer.
And this is my third employer. The first one I got was so good. The second one, I thought that was the worst.
Why did she fire you? It's okay.
That's why I broke my contract.
Oh, you broke it.
Yeah.
Why is it so worse?
The house was so small, only 850. But my work start at around 6, finish at around 11.
Oh.
Non-stop working.
That's very tough.
Yeah, very tough. Non-stop.
Non-stop work.
Yeah. And then the boss keep on yelling, talking nonsense, not satisfied with my work. That's why I
She's very harsh.
even the kids was so impolite. That's the first time I encountered.
So, like, how long did you stay in that?
I want to finish my contract, but
It's 2 years or
yeah, but I feel I broke it around 1 year and 3 months.
1 year and 3 months. So what happened if you break the contract?
If I broke the
You
contract,
have to pay money, right?
no, it's not sudden. That's why I give 1 month notice.
I'm
It's
sorry.
1 month notice. It's written in Hong Kong law. If you want to terminate your contract, you have to give your employer a 1 month notice. After that, she will give you your 1 month salary still. But you need to stay for 1 month before you leave.
From the interview, we can infer that the police does not regard physical abuse towards the domestic helper as a serious issue. Most of the time, even when domestic helpers fill off complaints, the police do not take action to investigate. Thus, legislation needs to be established by the government so police can investigate the case.
Ratify the Domestic Workers and Violence Harassment Conventions. Regarding the International Labour Organization's domestic worker can give a safe environment for domestic workers. They can work without fear. In 2014, a domestic worker working in Hong Kong called Ariana was physically abused for 8 months by her employer. Ariana claimed that she was made to sleep on the floor, work 21 hours per day, and was not permitted a day off. She alleged that she was beaten with various household items, citing a mop, a ruler, and a clothes hanger. Over the course of 8 months, her wounds became infected. She was not allowed to see a doctor, leaving her health in a weakened state, unable to walk. The fact that the violence continued for 8 months is an embarrassment to Hong Kong. And so, ratifying the above convention with legislations in Hong Kong make domestic workers work in an equal environment, just like how other Hong Kongers are working. Minimum wages can ensure the basic needs of the domestic workers. And with inflation, the minimum wage for domestic workers should be increased. Studies have shown that setting an appropriate minimum wage can reduce low pay, inequality, and a gender pay gap, which promotes both income and gender equality. Working with insurance gives domestic workers a protection in case they are wounded, regardless of accidental or deliberate by the employers. Promoting equality and reduce poverty are responsibilities of everyone, as it makes our world a better place. I hope in the future, you and me can live in an equal and prosperous world. But this requires our action. So, let's fight for equality.